Overtime, presented by Duncan. I'm Eric Allen, joined as always by Eric Coleman inside the BetMGM studio. Just a moment, we'll hear from former Jets tight end Anthony Becht, but the Jets fall to 0-3 on the season with a 36-7 loss to the Indianapolis Colts. Eric, the difficult start to this season for the green and white continues.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a rough one, to say the least. It seemed like, today they started out with some energy. They had a good tempo offensively, and then you have the gut punch of the pick six. The offense comes back on the field, they respond a little bit, but my issue was with the defense. Never at one point in the game did Phillip Rivers feel like he was uncomfortable. He was comfortable running his offense. They were comfortable running the football, and it was hard to see what the Jets were taking away because they ran the offense so efficiently.
Let's bring in Anthony Becht. Anthony, Sam Darnold did some good things early in this ball game, but at the end of the day, 2 pick sixes and a red zone interception. He was also sacked inside the end zone for a safety, so 16 points go the other way. And we've talked about it all year long, how many injuries he's dealing with at the skill positions. Well, the Jets had a new right tackle starting today. George Fant out of the lineup, Chuma Edoga inserted. And then your most impressive player so far early this season, Makai Bechten, the number 11 overall selection in the draft, he went out.
They did. I mean, those circumstances are tough for a quarterback to operate. I mean, you got to feel a little bit for Sam, but I also, even though he had the struggle in the first series with the pick six, you love the fact that he was able to bounce back and have a tremendous drive to tie that game up quickly. And another unbelievable touchdown pass to Berrios on the move with his scrambling abilities. I mean, those are the things you want to see out of a young quarterback who's really, his back is against the wall because, like you said, of all the injuries, all the players that are down, try to drum up something and really from a game plan standpoint to make something look good, to put a product out there that can compete. And honestly, we talked about this in the pregame about multiple tight end sets, try to get guys involved early. I thought that Gase did a lot of those things to try to get the offense in some type of flow. And outside of that pick six, they were able to score quickly and then get down in the red zone again. And then you have that turnover. So at the worst case, guys, when you look at this game, if you don't make those 2 mistakes, it's 10-10 at the half and you feel real good about it without getting onto the defense and talking about their lapses throughout the game. But offensively for Sam, I think he did his best. Can he have some better throws? Yes. Did he miss a few throws outside of the interceptions? Yes. Did he have some guys drop some footballs today on important downs, third downs? Yes, he did. So,
Anthony, I'm going to interrupt you real quick. I love his response after the pick six. The Jets are down 7-0 right there. Key third down conversion with his legs, and then just a great individual effort on this touchdown throw to Braxton Berrios. That is the second consecutive week those two hooked up for a score.
Yeah, I mean, it was great to see Darnold's activity early in the game. That touchdown, I mean, that was just a fantastic play. It looked like he was back at USC, scrambling around, making plays down the field, keeping his eyes down and delivering a strike to Braxton Berrios. I mean, that's why you drafted him number 3 overall, because he has that kind of potential, and that's inside of him. If he plays within himself, he plays with confidence. Sam Darnold can do these things on the regular. But, unfortunately today things didn't go as planned. There were some mistakes made. There's some bad decisions, and you end up with 3 turnovers. So it's hard to win games when you lose a turnover battle, and especially when you give up points with those turnovers.
Well, let's stay with our safety here on set. That is Eric Coleman, of course. What's happening defensively right now? Because early last season, maybe when the Jets were having struggles offensively, they kind of leaned on their defense, and right now the defense is having issues. Decent against the run in the first half, but Phillip Rivers was having his way through the air, and then I thought it was kind of downhill moving for the Indianapolis Colts in the second half when they took control and they did not let the Jets even think of getting back in this ballgame.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, you would ultimately like to get to the quarterback rushing four, play some coverage on the back end, mix in some exotic blitzes on third down in long situations. And I thought that they did a great job of getting into those situations early, but the only problem was they weren't covering on the back end. And Phillip Rivers seemed comfortable. He was converting passes, and never did you flush him out of the pocket. He looked very composed in the pocket, and you saw the vintage Phillip Rivers that that we all know.
Yeah, and he was definitely in his comfort zone. I thought the Jets would have an opportunity to get to Rivers today. We never saw that happen. Anthony, this team continues to struggle finding its way as far as complementary football is concerned. I looked up in the second half. It felt like every time the Jets had an offensive possession, they were starting inside their own 10-yard line.
Yeah, field position is key. I mean, that's an advantage the Colts had, obviously, in this football game. And, you have to be able to move the ball efficiently, and you can't give up big drives. I think every time the Colts had the football, they seemed to at least put something together, even when they punted. Again, like you said, putting the Jets back from, having to gain 80 or 85 or 90-yard drives, put that together. You just can't manufacture that with the kind of players that you have on the football field because you don't have an explosive guy on the outside that can trim a lot of those yards down. But, look, I thought there were some positive things with Cager getting involved in this football game, made some nice catches down the field, a couple, 15-plus yard catches, which were good to see. And, look, you get comfortable with Berrios as well. He's nice. He's improving himself. He's getting in the offense. He finds ways to get open. And those are all positives when you're talking about the passing game. But field position is part of it. And you have to make stops on defense in order to put yourself in a position to get good field area.
All right, let's go to the virtual podium right now and hear from Jets head coach Adam Gase from Indianapolis.
All right, as far as injuries go, Bechten left at the end of the first half with his shoulder. Willis had an ankle, and then really the only other two guys was Hogan kind of had a quad knee, and then Jordan had a shoulder, which really seemed like it was bothering him most of the game, but he stayed out there. We can't turn the ball over. We got to figure out a way to stop those guys. We put ourselves in at least position a couple times, but red area turnover and 2 pick sixes is just not gonna make it for us. I mean, we had to play a way better game than that, and we let that one get so far away from us. So we gotta clean a lot of stuff up.
Adam, can you just walk us through a little bit of what happened on those 3 Darnold interceptions, the pick six, the one in the red zone, and then the second pick six?
Yeah, I mean the first one was, I was excited that he went to Cager. He stuck with the progression. I got to go watch the tape and kind of see his release, and not really sure what happened at the top of the route, but I thought he did a good job of coming back and getting us down the field and taking up that whole first quarter and putting us in the end zone. The red zone pick can't happen. The third one, I gotta talk to him tomorrow and just find out kind of what was going on there.
Adam, you've been outscored by 57 points in these 3 games. I mean, how do you fix this?
Oh, we gotta clean up the red area for sure. We can't drive down the field and not put it in the end zone. It seems like we start out the game and we stay in third and manageable, and then as the game goes on, we're in third and long. It was tough running the ball once Beck left. That we lost a little bit with our run game there for sure. But I mean, we still had ourselves in a couple good positions, and then we were kind of shooting ourselves in the foot with penalties.
Adam, a byproduct.
We're watching Jets Overtime presented by Duncan, Eric Allen, and Eric Coleman inside the BetMGM studio. We're joined as always virtually by Anthony Becht. Let's talk about Sam Darnold's first 2 interceptions, Eric. Break it down for me. It's scoreless, third down. Darnold's looking for Lawrence Cager up the sideline, but instead a crafty veteran cornerback from the Indianapolis Colts jumped the route and took it the other way.
Well, on that first interception, the Jets they went with the 3-by-1 look. The Colts played a single high safety, and when you see single high as a quarterback with 3-by-1, you're going to go to the backside. Xavier Rhodes knew he was on the backside. He's facing a guy who just got signed off the practice squad. Watching film, you understand that the Jets haven't taken too many shots down the field. I'm going to play the sticks. I'm going to take my chances. He was crafty. He was smart. He sat on the sticks. Sam Darnold cocked back to throw it, and Xavier Rhodes was already breaking on it, running the other direction. So great play by a former All-Pro corner, and it's a tough way to start for the Jets.
Okay, but then in the red zone, the Jets look like they're in prime position to get back in this game. And again, Darnold's looking for the rookie, Lawrence Cager. What happened there? Because it looked like Rhodes wasn't sure what coverage he was supposed to be in, but he came off of it and comes up with an interception. You cannot have turnovers inside the red zone.
Yeah, I mean, it was another instance where they were playing single high safety down in the red zone. Initially, it looked like Xavier Rhodes was playing cover 2. They snapped the ball. Cager did a vertical release. Xavier Rhodes went to the flat. And then once he released and saw that the linebacker was taking the number 2 receiver to the flat, he went back to the corner where Cager happened to be running that corner route, and he ended up throwing it right to Rhodes. Maybe he didn't expect him to be there. It was definitely a situation where it looked like Xavier Rhodes fell into something.
Anthony, the Jets weren't good enough today, no doubt about that. But let's talk about what's happening with Sam Darnold right now. How do we properly evaluate him? Because you would have talked to us before the season, and we would have thought in week 3 the Jets going to be lining up with Brashad Perryman outside the numbers, Denzel Mims outside the numbers, Jamison Crowder inside. But instead today you're talking about Josh Malone, Chris Hogan, Braxton Berrios. Then up front, you're dealing with new guys in there as well. No excuses, but I just got to be honest here. If you're talking about any other quarterback in the league, they'd be struggling right now.
You're right. It's a difficult situation. I think you got to kind of segment it all out and break it down differently. I mean, when it's clean and Sam has the opportunities to make plays, you got to judge him and grade him there, because when the opportunity presents itself, is he making plays for the football team when it's there? Now you can also say, well, that's not a fair judgment, because you have inconsistencies. You don't have your linemen starting in certain positions. You have a second tier of wide receivers that are starting for you. So all those circumstances, like that tells the quarterback to do different things. Sometimes it may tell him, look, I got to speed up because this guy doesn't run a route like the starter does, or he has to do something as far as a progression wise. He has to get off something earlier to go to the next route. So again, it's very tricky, and I think you don't give him extra points for not making plays. But I think Sam's good enough a competitor, and what he does is that when those opportunities come up, like the scramble play today, when he can create those things, you really give him some extra points there, because not everybody in the league can do those kind of things. We saw it last week. We saw it again this week. He did utilize his legs in some opportunities where the pocket broke down and got a first down early in the game. So, look, when you make a true mistake and you throw a pick, you got to break it all down, watch the film. Eric talked about, as he said, he broke down both of them. The one in the red zone, it looked like he was making the correct read, and then it just kind of fell apart because of a mistake that ended up giving the Colts advantage. So, look, I don't feel bad for Sam. Sam's a competitor. Sam's going out there to win and do his job. He knows the game plan. He knows what he's supposed to do. But again, if he can't prevent drops, he can't prevent those things. He just has to go out there and operate the offense efficiently. The people upstairs will understand what's going on as they watch the film, and they can break them down and assess them according to it. But again, it'd be nice to see Sam, 2 years now, to have his true full gamut of weapons in his line there. I mean, I want to see it. I'm waiting to see that Jets team. You load it up, and then all of a sudden you can't have it. And it's disappointing, to be quite honest with you, because it's frustrating. It's frustrating for us. It's frustrating for the fans. And you got to deal with other things. And then when bad things happen, you just kind of roll them in. It's like, oh, it's same old Jets, but it's not. It's a different Jets team that's not all there. So it's a tough assignment, a tough assessment. I feel bad for Sam, but he's got to go out there and compete like everybody else and make the plays when they present themselves.
Anthony Becht is fired up, and that's the kind of analysis you're going to get all year on Jets Overtime presented by Duncan. But let's hear from some of the participants right now. Our own Olivia Landis is standing by with cornerback Bless Austin.
Team reporter Olivia Landis here with cornerback Bless Austin. Bless, a tough start for the Jets in this game versus the Colts. Started out with a pick six. How difficult is that for a team, and what kind of position does that put the team in to start out behind 7 points immediately?
I mean, you definitely can't start games like that in this league. I mean, everybody's just too, they're too good. So, when you come out and you start like that, it kind of puts you in a hole a little bit. Now, there's been times that happened, in the history of the league, and the other team was still able to overcome it. So, if anything ever goes down like that, we got to be able to bounce back still, because it's never perfect. So, we got to be able to bounce back from that still.
Speaking of being able to bounce back, when you think about the defensive side of the ball, how exactly can you guys take steps in limiting some of those explosive plays that end up leading to those larger deficits?
I mean, the answer's pretty simple. We just got to keep going to work. I know something that said, week after week, but it's because that's just what it is. We got to keep going to work and, getting quality reps, over quantity. It's all about quality. Guys just, we can't just think because we're out there for a long time, we're making strides. We got to, pay attention to every rep and make sure we technically sound and we detailed.
How confident are you as a whole that this defense is taking those quality reps and taking the steps to improve? I'm
very confident. We made strides from last week. Of course, it didn't, help us in the bigger picture of things and being victorious. But, there was small strides made, and not to have more victories, but there was improvement, which means that now guys are just starting to put a little different extra attention in to the detail and the technical things of the scheme. So we just got to keep putting our foot on the gas and going at it.
Bless, what are some of those small strides that you believe the defense has taken in recent weeks?
Improving our tackling, no doubt. Beginning of the season, that was something, with everything going on, that was something we kind of need to clean up on, and then just being in our spots and certain, coverages that we run, just being in the spot when you're supposed to be, and just understand the situation of the game as a whole defense.
Bless, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
You're watching Jets Overtime, presented by Duncan Eric Allen, alongside Eric Coleman inside the BetMGM studio. Anthony Becht here as well. Eric, what did you make of Bless Austin's comments? He made 6 tackles today. Defensively, mixed bag, because the Colts 3 of 10 on third down, so they were getting off the field. But conversely, the Colts had struggled inside the red zone in 2020, but they cashed in on their opportunities, and we look for differences in the ball game. When the Colts were inside the 20, they came away with touchdowns. When the Jets were inside the 20, they didn't score.
Yeah, I mean, and it's important as a defense to bend but don't break. Once you get down in the red zone, you have to hold teams to field goals. You can't let them put 7 on the board every time. But, to go back to what Bless was saying, there were some things that they did do better today. I thought they did a great job for the most part tackling. There were a couple misfits that I saw today, but overall you didn't see the big plays like you saw last week at the beginning of the game. I did see one play where the Jets did a zone blitz and Jack Doyle, I believe it was wide open down the middle of the field. That can't happen. You can't have opportunity. You can't have possessions where guys are running free in the secondary, especially with a veteran quarterback like Phillip Rivers. This team has to do a great job of communicating, finishing up on tackles, and making plays when they come to them. You can't force them. That's one thing that you can't do as a defense, is start forcing plays and trying to force the issue. That's how you end up giving up big plays. So if they play within the scheme of this defense, continue to work hard, I believe that there will be a better scenario. I mean, you have to know that the Jets gave up. I mean, before the defense got on the field, they gave up 16 points. Yep. So you can't put it all on the defense, but there's definitely room for improvement.
Phillip Rivers today, 17 of 21 for 217 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. He was not sacked. Sam Darnold, 17 of 29 for 168 yards, 1 touchdown, the 3 interceptions, also a safety. Let's hear from the Jets quarterback right now from Indianapolis.
Sam, can you just take us through those 3 interceptions today and what kind of happened on them, and just assess your performance as a whole today?
Yeah, obviously didn't play well enough today. Didn't execute well enough. Obviously, the turnovers cost us big time. The first one, just based on his leverage, maybe shouldn't have thrown it. And then the red zone turnover, I thought, Rhodes made a good play. Obviously shouldn't have thrown it, but he made a really good play. I think they busted their coverage, but and then the last one, just didn't see it well enough. Got to be better.
Sam, how do you guys fix this?
Yeah, we just got to take it one day at a time. We got a short week. We got to get ready to play Denver tomorrow. We'll play Denver Thursday, get ready for them tomorrow. So, we're looking forward to the challenge. It's just, again, like I said, it's about taking it one day at a time right now. That's where we're at.
Sam, what do you believe's holding you back from taking that next step as a quarterback?
I just got to play consistent. I mean, I'm not playing consistent enough to play well in this league. And so for me, I just need to, play more consistent, make the plays when they're there, and when they're not, just get rid of the ball, check it down, do all the right things I need to do.
Sam, is it particularly frustrating because in between the interceptions, you guys were actually moving the ball, reasonably well on the second series, and, got some things going, and then the pick, just seemed to deflate everything. So is that what you're talking about, mainly with the inconsistency?
Yeah, I mean, we drive the ball down the field. We got to execute in the red area. It was the same story last week. If we score a touchdown there, it's a whole different ballgame.
Sam, how much can you? I mean, obviously, we all know the people that you're missing. Receiver-wise, obviously, Makai goes down today. How much do you look at that as what's holding you back, or is that an unfair excuse for you to make?
No, it's not an excuse. I think for us, like I said, earlier this week, it's always been a next man up mentality. Whoever's out there, coaches do a really good job, and our players, my teammates do a really good job of, knowing the game plan, even though they're not technically starting. And that's why I think, we do a really good job of having that next man up mentality. It's just, again, like we said earlier, we're driving the ball down the field. We just got to execute in the red area, put it in the end zone.
You had some success with
running for less at Dunkin' with a $1 medium hot coffee with a sandwich purchase. America runs on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Exclusions apply. Limited time offer. You are watching Jets Overtime presented by Dunkin'. Eric Coleman, I believe this game changed. 5:29, I believe, left in the second quarter. The Jets are down inside the red zone. It's 17-7 at that point, and Darnold tries to force one in there to Lawrence Cager, and Rhodes comes up with the interception. You score there, it's 17-10 or 17-14, and you're outgaining Indianapolis at that point. But I think that speaks to the margin of error for the Jets right now. They have to be on it when they have those opportunities. They're just not good enough to overcome mistakes like that.
Yeah, I mean, that one was particularly frustrating. The Jets drive down, get into the red zone, put themselves in a great position, and to end up with no points in that, not even a field goal. You give up a turnover in that situation. That can't happen. You work too hard to get into the red zone, to put yourself in these positions. If you're going to beat good teams, if you're going to beat teams in the NFL, you have to cash in once you get down there. There were a lot of missed opportunities as third down. When we have drops. There's different opportunities at the Jets. Everyone has to be on point. Everyone has to do their job in order to right this ship.
It's just a crusher, Anthony, because you're first and goal at the 7-yard line, 17-7. You're moving the ball, just like last week, 5:29 left, and then the air comes out of the balloon.
Yeah, again, I'll go back. We talked about what the game plan should look like and utilizing tight ends and getting receivers opportunities early. And I thought not only did the receivers have opportunities early, they found themselves with some real completions, some completions over 10 yards, things that mattered in drives. There were several 2-3 tight end looks in the football game. let's be quite honest though. Putting in the 3 tight end sets great, and we talk about what an advantage it can be to help them with the limitations that are already set on Sam and some of the obstacles that you have, designing a game plan. But when you utilize 3 tight ends, we talked about this in the pregame, is you're basically trying to generate long drives, right? So 10, 12 play drives, which is great because you can keep the other team's offense off, but it is a bit of a liability sometimes because of the fact that it's more opportunities to potentially make a mistake. So there's 2 ways of looking at it. When you get down to the red zone and you work your way all the way down and get to that point, you have to find a way to execute. And that's really is the difference in this, because I don't think my expectations are real high as far as the Jets consistently doing that every single series. But when the opportunities come, you have to capture those, because you're right. Now it changes things at half. It changes the score. It changes the complexion and the momentum of the game for the players coming out of the locker room in the second half. And unfortunately, that's just what you're dealing with right now with this football team. And until you can capture those moments and be more efficient, you're not going to have success, or at least give yourself a chance in the fourth quarter, because that's all we want as players, is you want to get to the fourth quarter with an opportunity to win. And you're not giving yourself that right now.
Average yards per completion for the Indianapolis Colts and Phillip Rivers, 9.4. For the New York Jets, 4.9. So that tells you a tale of 2 offenses, a tale of 2 teams. Let's go hear from a Jets veteran who is one of the wise philosophers on this team, 34-year-old nose tackle Steve McClendon.
That's one of the biggest things. Like, we have a game plan. We just can't go out there and just get beat and just lay down and take it. That's the biggest thing. We cannot do that. I think our biggest thing right now is just we need to execute better. We need to execute better. That team is a good team, but we're a good team. I feel that we're a really good team, that we're just not executing. We're playing hard. We're playing fast. I just don't think we're playing smart enough right now as a team. We need to do some complementary football. We need to continue to play complementary football, because that's what's going to help us win. At the end of the day, I want to take my hats off to those guys. They won. We didn't. We have to get back in the lab, because we have a short week and a short turnaround, and we got to do the necessary things, man, to come out on top. At this point right now, there's not many words that need to be said. It's not many words that need to be said. You need to let your pads do the talking. That the action has to be on the field now. It's not any talking anymore. It's just line up and win 1 down at a time.
Steve, when you hear your coach come under fire like this week, people questioning if he should still be the Jets head coach after this game and things like that, how does it affect you guys? Because it did not look like you guys came out fired up. Do you even hear those things?
Me personally, I don't. Because I don't feed into that, and I don't really listen to anybody else outside of that. And for me, man, I try to stay singularly focused on the task at hand. My mindset will never change. It will absolutely never change. I wake up every morning with the mindset of getting better and trying to win a championship. Whether it's today, tomorrow, no matter what it is, my mindset cannot change. I feel like once my mindset starts changing, then everything and everyone else is going to follow. And that's one thing about being a leader on a team. If they see you drop, then they feel like it's okay. So I don't look at anything on the outside. The only thing I try to do is focus on us, stay driven, which is inside, and understand, man, that we have been blessed with a great opportunity. And this is the only life that we have. And it's the only thing that we have at this moment that keep us together. And like I told the guys before the game, understand what the word team means. Together, everyone achieves more. If we play as a team, I guarantee everyone will achieve more.
Steve, you played on some teams here with the
Eric Coleman, what did you think about those comments from a Jets veteran, Steve McClendon?
I mean, I love the wise words of Steve McClendon. He's a consummate pro, and he does things the right way. And he's right. It's time for the pads to do the talking. It's time for guys to stop talking in interviews, start talking about practice, and go out there and do it. We used to live by the mantra of know and do your job. You know, everybody goes out there and does their job, does their assignment, carries out what they're asked to do, then you have a chance of success. Yes, the other team may have some better players. They may make a couple plays here and there, and that's acceptable. But beating yourself, not giving yourself a chance to win in the fourth quarter is unacceptable in the NFL, and it's not going to be a way for you to steal some wins. It's not going to be a way to carry momentum, and it's definitely not going to be a way to get into the playoffs, everyone's ultimate goal. So, you know, if everyone does their job, follow the words of Steve McClendon and follow the way that he goes about his business, I think this team will get back on track.
Anthony, how important is it for those guys inside the locker room to stick together? Because there is a ton of outside noise right now. You know that.
Yeah, you know, it's laughable when Steve McClendon gets asked a question about players worrying or thinking about the whispers of your coach and the situation that he's in. I mean, to me, that's kind of laughable. You know, Steve gives you the good answer and says it, but, you know, you kind of want to look up and say, what are you talking about? Like, players don't care about any of that stuff. Like, when they go to work every day, they're not reading a paper. They're not looking at the things going on. They're studying their playbooks. They're getting in there. They're watching film. You know, as quick as you win or lose a game, the next day you're literally turning the page and moving on. And that's the way it has to be. You can only embrace the wins for so long and sulk in the losses so long as well, because you have to get ready for the next game that's coming up and your next opportunity. So, you know, the key is, can you learn from your mistakes quick enough so that you can turn the page and execute them the next opportunity that you have them? It's a short week for the Jets. That's obviously is going to be a huge deal, because you're not going to get a lot of on-field reps that you want. There's not going to be a lot of, physicality in the practices. Everything's going to be mental. So are you mature enough from a standpoint what you're doing in the plan? Well, execute properly in the job. You have to do more of the mental side of it in a short week. So there's a veteran presence on this team for sure. We know there is. Frank Gore, Joe Flacco. I mean, they were showing camera shots of those guys, you know, talking to Gase, talking on the sidelines, trying to figure out what they can do as leaders to help build this team up for the following week. And those things were great to see. I'm glad they had those camera shots, because it means something to Frank Gore. You know, Joe Flacco has experience on several teams, and of course, you know, taking a team to the Super Bowl. So those are the things you want to lean on. And then you add in Steve McClendon on the defensive side. It can only help the team. But at the end of the day, words only go so far. Speeches only carry you for so much. Then you got to hit the field and you got to execute. And, you know, be quite honest with you, whether you're a third string corner or a backup quarterback or a fifth string offensive lineman that's rotating in different positions, if you don't do your job, you're not going to win football games. So you're in the league, you're on the roster. If you're called to do a task, you have to do it, and has to be done quickly this weekend on a short week.
Chris Hogan knows a thing or two about winning. Of course, he won a ring with the New England Patriots. And our own Ethan Greenberg talked to Hogan after this one.
Here with Jets wide receiver Chris Hogan. Chris, from your vantage point, what do you think went wrong for the offense today?
I mean, just not enough positive plays. You know, we had a lot of good things going. We had long drives. I mean, we had that long 14-play drive. And then it was just kind of, you know, one bad play here or there, penalty here, behind the sticks, you know, negative plays, you know, just not enough good plays. So I think the biggest thing for us is that it's just got to be that consistency. You know, we got to be able to sustain those long drives like we did for the first score, and, you know, not hurt ourselves with penalties or negative plays. And, you know, we have a lot of good players on this team, and we just need to find a way to keep getting positive plays and keep working hard, because if we can do that, we move the ball effectively, take care of the ball, and, you know, we'll put ourselves in better positions to win football games.
What would you describe of your first scoring drive that went well that you guys didn't continue to do throughout the rest of the game?
I mean, the first scoring drive was good. You know, we had a couple of, you know, Sam made some really good plays. I mean, he scrambled, you know, lowered his shoulder on a first down. You know, Braxton had, you know, made the touchdown catch on another scramble. So guys were, you know, working hard to get open. You know, and then from there, you know, just kind of, you know, we just little things here and there. You know, we would have a good play, and then, a not so good play, or we had a penalty. So, and all those things just kill drives. So I think the biggest thing for us is just the consistency. We just got to be able to hold every single person on the field accountable to knowing what we're doing, and going out there doing your job, not trying to do anything crazy, having to do other people's jobs or the wrong thing on the field, and just get back to work. And we have a short week here, getting ready for Denver. We got to turn the page, and we got to turn the page quickly, and we got to find a way to get better.
So, two-part question to wrap things up. How do you turn the page quickly and look ahead to a Thursday night football game against Denver? And then where do you start building consistency, and how do you start going about building consistency?
I mean, the page is turned. We can sit here and talk about Indy all we want, but we play a football game in 4 days. So when we get home, we can make some corrections, but the reality is that we have to start prepping, and we got to prep fast, and we got to get people healthy. We got to get people recovered. I think that's one of the biggest challenges of playing a Thursday night game is just getting guys, recovered from a Sunday. People can be banged up, whatever it is. And just study the game plan, be on the same page. Everyone be on the same page when we go out there on the field, and just that consistency, just keep working as hard as we can so that when we go out there, we're able to execute. And that's really what it comes down to, executing every single play that we have on offense, and just trying to make it a positive play.
Awesome, Chris. Appreciate the time.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks to Ethan Greenberg, Olivia Landis, and Anthony Becht, as always. Eric, the Jets and Broncos are both 0-3. They're going to meet at MetLife Stadium Thursday night in a nationally televised affair. Some team is going to walk away and end the first quarter on a high note.
Yeah, it's going to be important for the Jets to get back. I'm sure the coaches will make a quick highlight, about 15 plays, a film to watch over it. Then they have to move on to the Broncos. They have to get these things fixed, get back on the winning side of things, and put a good game plan together.
We're probably going to see you Friday morning for Jets Overtime presented by Duncan, because the game starts a little bit after 8, and we will be here an hour after Game 4 concludes. Thanks as always. Have a great night.